Namah Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prestaya Uttale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pacharane, Nirvisesha Sunyavadi, Naskacha Deshitarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this evening, I would like to continue on our topic of who is Vrinda Devi, or, of course, as we know, who is Tulsi Devi. And we heard yesterday some Puranic stories. We heard also that these stories that are very famous, very relevant on one level, they don't exactly tell you who is Vrinda Devi. At least, they don't tell you in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So let us begin here from Bhagavad Gita, because we're all very much familiar with Bhagavad Gita. In the 15th chapter, Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, and he tells him, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree. What does imperishable mean? Undestroyed, cannot be destroyed, undestroyed. But so undestroyed, that's a negative. What's the positive? Eternal, infinite. Yes, yes, yes. Both are true. The negative is what it isn't, and the positive is what it is. So there is an imperishable banyan tree, and it has its roots upwards. The roots are going up into the air, and the branches are going down, 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 and whose leaves, the leaves of this extraordinary tree, are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. Now, this is a really interesting example or analogy that Krishna is giving here. And he's giving it for our benefit, because if we take the things of this world and we look at them in reference to the things of that world, then we get somewhat of a kind of a conception of what that world is like by reference to this world. So he continues. Now there is no ready experience in this world. Now this is a paraphrase. There is no ready experience in this world of a tree situated with its branches down and its roots upward. But such a thing exists. That tree can be found beside a reservoir of water. How many of you have seen a tree by the side of a river or a body of water, or even a plant by the side of a pond? I remember one time going for a walk, and I was looking over a vast expanse of water, and it was very hard, because the water was still, it was very hard to see which was the reflection and which was the real trees, the real foliage, because they appeared in the distance to be identical. So that tree, this tree with the roots going down and the branches going up, so sorry, the roots going up and the branches going down, that tree can be found beside a reservoir of water. We can see that the trees on the bank reflect upon the water with their branches down and their roots up. In other words, Krishna is telling Arjuna that the tree of this world, where we live, where we think, feel, and try to study and understand, the tree of this world is a reflection. It's a reflection of the real tree of the spiritual world. Now this is very important. This little analogy can bring us so much realization. It can bring us so much clarity when we reflect upon it. That right now, I'm living in, existing in, pursuing the tree reflected in the water. The tree reflected in the water has many characteristics of the real tree. They could be said to be identical. But stop for a moment to think. If I put an orange here, you can all see the orange. And it's a very juicy, tasty orange. There it is, right there. And then I place a mirror here. If I angle the mirror in the right way, what do you see now? What do you see?
Orange.
2 oranges, yes, 2 oranges. But you try this one day at home when you're feeling like a bit bored or you don't know what to do. You put an orange in front of a mirror and you try your hardest to enjoy the orange in the mirror. You try your hardest. I want that orange that's in the mirror. You try even to grab it and hold it, and you cannot. You hit a barrier. You'll hit a barrier. And if you take the real orange and you hold it in your hand, it has form, taste, smell, touch, feel, everything. And you put it back, and again you have 2 oranges, but that orange is not the same as this orange. This is a very important point for us all to reflect upon. This reflection of the spiritual world is situated on desire. Not on the riverbed, on the water, but it's situated on desire. And what does that mean? It's situated on our desire. If I put the orange in front of the mirror, I desired to put the orange in front of the mirror. I didn't create the orange. The orange was already real, it existed, but I was the one who put it there. And then I was the one who thought, let me try and enjoy it in some form or another. So my perception of the orange and the reflection is situated on my desire. So this is a very important example for us to grasp. And this is therefore why Krishna is speaking this particular analogy, so that it can accelerate our devotional progress significantly. So Krishna is telling Arjuna how to see the world properly, not inaccurately. If you see the orange inaccurately, you may make a mistake, and you may choose to possess the one that can never be making you happy, because it doesn't really permanently exist. It's a reflection only. So a reflection is temporary. Our life in this world is temporary. And we've heard and been taught that our pains and pleasures are temporary. They come and they go. And sometimes it will be seen, some happiness, and sometimes it will not be there. But the origin from whence the reflection is reflected is eternal. Or, what was the word that Krishna used? It was imperishable. Imperishable. That orange is real. This orange in the mirror is unreal. The material reflection of the real tree has to be cut off. So what does that mean? How do you cut off a reflection? You cannot. You think everything in the world, everything, we take it for granted, but every single object and piece of anything has a shadow. The shadow is connected to the real item, whatever it is. A human being, a banana, an animal, a piece of artwork, whatever it is, it possesses also a shadow. This is true. But is the shadow characteristics the same as the real object? No. Anyone can see this. Even a little child can see this. That the shadow, I can see my shadow, but can I see the color of my eyes? Can I understand from the shadow who my mother and father were? Can we understand very much from this shadowy material world? Can we understand what that place is like from this shadowy material world? The answer is always yes and no. You will always have to say yes and no. And then you can discover what is the yes and what is the no. So when it is said that a person knows the Vedas, that includes these Puranic stories that we were sharing, it is assumed that he knows how to cut off the attachment to this material world. This is the purpose of the Vedas, to cut off the attachment to the material world. Now I'll add a little point here, that there's a vast difference between being attached to someone and loving them. We sometimes use these words interchangeably. I'm very attached to my husband. I'm very attached to my children. So attached means that they're connected to me. They're mine. I have some connection with them, and so therefore I'm attached. It doesn't include automatically love. Love is a different quality. Love is unselfish. Love is how can I do something for the pleasure of the other person. But attachment is how can they provide some happiness for me. And when we come in the beginning to approach Sri Vrindavan Dham, we come to approach Radha and Krishna, we come to approach the deities. Quite naturally, we begin from the point of attachment. Please help me. I have some problem, something, this, please help me. And at an advanced stage, we think, how can I please you? How can I give you something? How can I give you some love? Meaning, how can I do something that doesn't return to me? It doesn't come back in the back door to me. It ends up in my pocket. How can I give you something that stays with you? And so therefore when we hear that one should become free of attachment, it doesn't mean one should become free of love. But it means that you should change attachment to love. So the purpose of the Vedas, as disclosed by the personality of Godhead himself, is to cut down this reflected tree, cut it down, and attain the real tree of the spiritual world. So it's almost like, you would say in our analogy, it's almost like I'm going to take that orange away from the mirror, and I'm going to feel a terrible loss, because now I only have one. When I put it by the mirror, I felt like I had two. I felt like I had two. The reflection was enjoyable by me. But I really only had one. And now I'm going to concentrate on the one, the real one. So the Vedas give us methods of achievement for material rewards. And they encourage us towards good deeds, piety. Be a good person. There's rewards for that. You go up in the human chain. You won't take a terrible suffering birth. So be good people is a very important message from the Vedas. Yet, when truly understood by a pure-minded person, a person whose mind has been trained, those rewards of happiness are not the real essence of what we should ask for from either our Vedic rituals, nor our chanting, nor our study, and not from our devotional life. These are secondary characteristics. They may be there, they may not be there. But if we seek the secondary characteristics, we may be forgetful of what is the primary golden reward that we should all be after. So Krishna continues. He says, the living beings in this conditional world are my eternal, what is the opposite, what is the word that we use? Imperishable. We are imperishable. Do you get that? I know I don't most of the time. I don't feel imperishable. I feel like my back is aching, my legs are aching, my teeth are becoming loose, my eyesight is getting poor. I don't perceive my imperishability. And yet, there we are, we're imperishable. Now the twigs of that tree, not the real tree, the tree in the water, the twigs of the tree are the experiences that we have in this world due to our eyes, our ears, our sense of touch, our taste, our hearing. We have so many experiences, and this is what makes the tree beautiful. Or sometimes the tree looks very dry and barren because the leaves are not so strong and vigorous. So these twigs are these sensory experiences, and the roots of this magnificent tree are our attachments and our aversions. The things that we think, I never want that to happen to me. I don't want that. That never. And oftentimes, like Narada Muni, when he was speaking to Maharaj Yudhisthira, he was glorifying Kansa and saying he was so amazing, I wish I could have his bhava, his mood. That doesn't make sense to us. But he explained a very important point. He said, what you meditate on in anger and vengeance, that becomes more powerfully part of you. You can't get rid of it, as we heard. You can't get rid of it. It's easier, it's more powerful than it is to meditate with love. And so in a roundabout way, he was telling us that intensity of Kansa's absorption in Krishna with hate and fear was enviable. Not the envy and the hate and the fear, but the absorption in Krishna himself. So the roots of the tree, are our attachments and our aversions, which are the byproducts. Attachment and aversion comes as a result of the different varieties of suffering and pleasure that we encounter in our lives. So this is the material world. Welcome to the material world. It's based on these complex arrangements of pleasure and pain, happiness and distress, attachment and aversion, all processed in a transcendental way by higher forces than ourselves and offered to us as the reflection in the mirror. So the next question that should arise for all of us is, so then what about the real tree? What's that like? I've heard some definitely kind of harsh words about this reflected tree. And I even have a physical example given to me that I could take home scientifically and practice. Put the orange there, have a look, have an experience. But what about the real tree? This is really what we want to know about. What about the real tree? One has to, Krishna says, search out that real tree through the association of persons who are in knowledge of that Supreme Person. And then, by understanding what they tell us, one becomes gradually, but definitely, but gradually detached from this false reflection of reality. And then, by further knowledge, experience, and taste, one can cut off the reflection, the connection with the reflection, and actually become situated on the real tree. So I like myself to think about this, that every existing object has a reflection or a shadow, and that the top of a reflection, like we hear, the tree's roots are upwards, the branches are downward. The top of the real tree is the bottom of the reflection. And the bottom of the real tree is the top of the reflection. Now I mention this in relationship to that reality, or Krishna's world. That we here in this world, so many times, especially when I was living in India, I'd be traveling in a train, and somebody would say to me, "Oh, you have taken up our religion." And I would say a few words to them. And then they would say to me, "And have you found peace?" I'm sure all of you have had that experience, that people think that the most valuable thing you could get from being spiritual is peace. In fact, sometimes we think it. This is the most valuable thing I could get is some peace. But interestingly enough, we say this is the highest in the reflection. It's the lowest on the spiritual world plane. It's the lowest. It's the least significant. Peace. What's peace? It's like going to sleep or something. And Prabhupada used to tell people, "I hate to sleep." He would say, "I sleep only 1 hour, 2 hours, I don't sleep at all. I hate to sleep," he would say. "It's a waste of time." Now, I don't share his realization, I'm afraid, but I heard from this many, many times that he would be very strong, that he would say, Napoleon, he was merely a powerful political figure, but he didn't like to waste time sleeping. He would sleep on his horse. We're traveling from one battlefield to another, so he was a conqueror. And likewise, Prabhupada said, "I do not like to sleep." So he's not reflecting on peace. I am, but he's not. He's reflecting on something much higher. And then after peace, or shanta, quiet appreciation of Krishna and his glories, comes dasya ras, where now one feels like, I want to offer something. I'd like to do some service. I come to the temple, I would like to offer some service to the deities. Somehow I'd like to do some service. And then as one stays on and continues to serve, then the intimacy grows. And one starts to feel other feelings as well. And in that transcendental realm, further than this dasyaras, or just simply respectful service, comes a feeling that Krishna is mine. Krishna Kanaya is mine. He's mine. That doesn't mean he's not yours. That's up to you. But he's mine. This is the sense of the residents of Vrindavan. He's mine. There's no doubt in their minds that Krishna is mine. And they don't fight like little children. He's mine, no, he's yours, he's mine. It's not like that. But a deep love develops and a sense that he is mine and my life is meant for his service. And then when that develops further, then we start to have more like a parental love, where you start to think, I have to take care of him. It's mine. First he's my friend, he helps me pass my exams, does so many things. But now I start thinking, I have to offer him some care and service. And this parental mood starts to develop. And the highest, topmost, the topmost love, and it's considered topmost from Krishna's perspective, is the love of those, as Srila Prabhupada calls them, his fiancés, or the gopis of Vrindavan, the cowherd girls. Because they don't even have an official love relationship with Krishna. They're not even family members. They're just in their homes, thinking about Krishna day and night, no sleep, no interest in sleep. And they're always thinking, oh, Krishna's walking on the grass, his feet will be burnt, his feet will be touching some stones, the blades of grass is so sharp. How can we somehow or other protect him? We're so loveless because we let him walk like that and we don't think. We just relax and stay on our own lifestyle patterned way of life, and Krishna, let Krishna whatever he wants. He's up there, we're down here, he should drop a few things our way and we'll be happy and we won't bother him too much. So this is the beginning stage when one first comes in touch with true spiritual understanding through the Bhagavad Gita, as Srila Prabhupada is presenting it to us. But from there we grow, and we grow, and we grow. So we should look at this with great care, and we will become enlightened by the simple truth given purely, firstly by Krishna himself, and then expanded upon by experts in full devotional realization. But who is there to guide us in this age of degradation? Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago on this earthly plane, and he demanded surrender. Sarvadhamam purichaja, mam ekam sharanam braja, aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami mahasija. Do not be afraid, surrender. But how many people surrender? How many people in Malaysia are surrendering to Krishna today in this modern degraded age? A handful of fortunate souls. So Krishna appeared and he said, surrender in order to enter into the deep relationship of love with him. But Krishna Das Kaviraj, he tells us that supreme personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, after he displayed his pastimes as Lord Krishna, he thought it wise to make his advent in the form of a devotee to explain personally the transcendental mellows or relationships of reciprocal service and love exchanged between himself, Krishna, and his devotees, friends, parents, and fiancés. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna. No different. So we have 1, 2, 3 altars. In each altar, it's Krishna. We're looking at Krishna. Krishna in his form as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna in his form as Jagannath. They're all interrelated. And they're all there to give us an experience that can push us forward so that we are eager to give up the reflection and favor the taste of the sublime bhakti principle that he is offering to us. So therefore, to know the transcendental pleasure of Lord Krishna himself appears as Lord Chaitanya. To accept the emotions, the feelings, and the beautiful luster of Srimati Radharani. And who did he choose to speak to educate in these important mysteries? Who did he choose? I've heard the answer given before. Who did he choose? Who did he speak to? Ramananda Roy, yes, very much so. Who else? Sarup Damodar, yes. Who else? Rupa Goswami, yes. And Srila Sanatana Goswami. And Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami were delegated by him to go to Vrindavan. And there they were asked to write literature and uncover the different places of Krishna's pastimes for the benefit of the future people of this age of Kali. That means us. Not those people, that means us. It's urgent. It's ours. And Krishna is saying, come, take it. It's yours. But we must take it from the right source. Otherwise we can become confused, misled. We can have all sorts of difficulties. So they were personally trained. Rupa and Sanatana, Sri Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar were Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's followers in Jagannath Puri, Jai Jagannath. But Rupa and Sanatana were trained in Prayag. He sat with them for 10 days or more, and he spoke to them the whole philosophy of what is Chaitanya Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And then he sent them to Vrindavan to do their work. So he trained them in the mysterious nature of transcendental reality, which is opposed to the banyan tree, which is what we are familiar with. He educated them personally, instructed them to compile literatures describing that world, beyond our present comprehension. And Rupa Goswami was the foremost of the two who wrote two very, very important handbooks, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and also he wrote a book called Ujjala Nilamani. And that book delineates all the characteristics of that spiritual Ujjala Ras, or the relationship between Krishna and Radharani and the other gopis. He also wrote two extraordinary dramas. And during the 10 days that Rupa Goswami was instructed by the Lord, he gave him the basic principles. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the basic principles for these works. And then he sent him, go to Vrindavan. Now, after all of that, I want to come back to our retreat topic, which is the glorious nature of Srimati Vrinda Devi or Srimati Tulsi Devi, but heard from the perspective of Srila Rupa Goswami and the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because we heard that the Puranas and the Vedas are part of the leaves of the tree of this world. They're meant to give us a good life here. But he's saying, this is not the purpose of our spiritual journey, to have a good life here. You may have a good life here. It's irrelevant. The main thing is to go there. And when you target there, then the problems of this life are so much more bearable. Because we have a purpose high above us at all times. So we hear from the Puranas and the stories that there are rewards for worshipping Tulsi Devi very nicely, and those rewards are beneficial to us, and we should be grateful and accept them. However, we are also being trained by her for something far, far, far more extraordinary than we can currently understand. Let me read to you the song, the bhajan, that we sing whenever we do a Tulsi Arti. And just meditate on it for a moment, because it's actually absolutely extraordinary. O Tulsi, beloved of Krishna, I bow down before you again and again. My desire is to obtain the service of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of you has his wishes fulfilled, her wishes fulfilled. Bestow your mercy upon her. I'm going to make a little shift change here. Bestow your mercy upon her and make her a resident of Vrindavan. My desire is that you will also grant me a residence in the pleasure groves of Sri Vrindavan Dham. And thus, within my vision, with these eyes, I may always behold the beautiful pastimes of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower, Anugata, follow behind, a follower of the cowherd damsels of Braja. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own maidservant. Koro Nija Dasi. Koro Nija Dasi. Seva Adhikara Diye. We may think, because we're here and it's valid, that the service here is what we're praying to her for, and that's valid. But there's such a higher principle accompanying that it's very important that we understand it. Koro Nija Dasi, in reference to the beautiful pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. Do we ever think of it? I can say for myself, no. I sing the words because I know the words, and I sing the words and I shuffle my feet. But do I remember? What am I saying? And the amazing thing is that Srila Prabhupada knows that we don't understand this song. He knows that. It goes without saying. But we're repeating it and repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. And one day it becomes so strong in us that we start to say, what is it that I've been singing all this time? What is it? What is it? What am I asking for? Even unknowingly, what have I been involved in asking, requesting of Tulsi Devi. This very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna prays, may I always swim in the love of Sri Radha and Govinda. So, Srila Rupa Goswami has written his books in order to assist us, when we're ready, to assist us in entering into the mysterious nature of Radha Govinda's seva. And whilst our minds are still tied up, as we are, in considering this world to be reality, it may be almost impossible for us to believe that Radha and Krishna are more than, this is embarrassing to say, they're more than imagination for us. Yes, they're there somewhere. The deities are here. Tangibility of seva is there. But Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan, they may seem so far away from us. But they are actually the most extraordinary, pure essence of truth and beauty. And so here we are, we've come together, and in each other's company, we have this opportunity to share these thoughts and to actually somehow or other let them touch us a little bit, a little bit. We don't rush these things. Just as you see when your children are growing up, you don't rush them into adulthood. You know that they will have stages and their development will come naturally. But you educate them. Every Indian family member is educating their children to be doctor, lawyer, engineer, and so on. But are we actually educating ourselves to understand what is the real purpose of worship of Tulsi, worship of Radha, Krishna, Kanaya, V.A.N.I.T.A, Jagannath, Srila Prabhupada, and the wonderful opportunity of service to the Vaishnav community which we may be sharing. I myself know very clearly that it's very hard to keep these things in the foreground, so I don't expect that it's any easier for most of us to do that. But when they disappear from me and I'm busy, absorbed in the world and its problems, there's always a gnawing feeling. Like I'll give a crude example. When you have to obey the call of nature and you're not interested because you want to keep doing something, there's a nagging feeling in the body that we need to do something right now. So similarly, we should welcome that gnawing feeling when it comes and says, you should be doing more. You should be trying harder. You can do more. You can. It's wonderful. Take it up more seriously. We should not ignore that feeling. We should offer respects to that feeling. And we should pray to our beautiful deities here or in our homes or in our regional temples, wherever we come from. We should approach them appropriately. V.A.N.I.T.A, Lord Jagannath. Lord Jagannath is listening to the stories of Krishna in Vrindavan and the love of the gopis. And look at his eyes. His eyes are huge. And he melts into his own body out of love for the residents of Vrindavan who are far away when he is there in Dwarka. So take seriously the beauty of that other world and taste that orange and keep it with you all the time. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Tomorrow we'll hear a little bit, I hope, of some little pastime of Vrinda Devi, which is very charming. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So probably we can have one question for Mataji. If there's any question. While that, we can have the kirtan prepared for Vishaka Mataji. Is there any question for Mataji? Alright, so then let me brief you how we're going to do this.
Yes. One little quote. Vrinda Devi then jubilantly placed a garland of kunda flowers on Srimati Radharani's lotus hand. She placed it, Radha placed it around Krishna's neck. And he then removed the same garland and placed it around Radharani's neck. Although the garland was the color of pink lotus flowers, when it was placed around Krishna's neck, it assumed the color of blue lotus flowers. And when it was placed around Srimati Radharani's neck, that same garland appeared to be the color of yellow champak flowers. This is certainly very wonderful.
Jai, that's very beautiful. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Jagattarini Mataji.